Tammy Bruce is president of Independent Women's Voice and a frequent and honored guest on the show, and she joins us tonight. So, Tammy, it seems like the takeaway is what we already knew, that the system that tells us it's meritocratic is nothing like a meritocracy at all. It's not. It's a lie.
Well, it is a little bit. I mean, some kids get into school. They've worked hard. Maybe they use scholarships. They're working jobs, of course, while they're going to school. They studied for the SAT test. They took it themselves. They did well enough to get in. But what we're finding here is that there's a part of the system where some young people were pushed out in order to allow these individuals to get in. That's one of the biggest problems here. So when you're especially taking a slot for athletes who've really worked hard all their lives to get that scholarship, those positions are eliminated. So that's the real harm. Some people are saying, well, what's the harm? Well, you know, some young people were shut out of this process. But in addition to the fact that it's cheating, right? I mean, this unself-aware kind of vulgarity in the actions that have been taken in this regard by individuals who really could have whatever they want. They've got a lot of money. Maybe they're not as rich as Jeff Bezos, but they've got enough, $500,000 allegedly to get their two kids on a couple of crew positions there in USC. So it's a remarkable thing for Americans to watch unfold. And now, and this is the good news, well, we're focused on these actresses, and they're behaving very differently from each other in this regard. The Department of Education is investigating the 8 colleges involved. But I think this tells us, Tucker, that this entire system has to be looked at. It's not just the 8 colleges that were caught being involved. I think it's an infrastructure of entitlement because of the liberalism that guides that institution as a whole.
So why, since we fund these institutions through tax dollars and tuition, why shouldn't we have some transparency in the admissions process? Why shouldn't we know how people get into college, since it's the gateway to success in our society?
Right. Now, 8 of these, we've got 8 universities, 6 of them are private. And 2 of them were public. However, even with private institutions like Harvard, conservatives complain, understandably a lot, that we give research grants to these private institutions, right? And there's a lot of other things. There's a lot of other ways that the federal money flows into these institutions. So there has to be, I think it's the height of naivete to suggest that it's just a few of these individuals or one conspiracy. As a matter of fact, earlier this month, we learned that Harvard is investigating their fencing coach, who sold, allegedly, his home to the father of a student who was trying to get in for almost, it appears, $500,000 more than what the home was worth.
Exactly.
And so there's a lot of different things going on at the highest levels here of academia. Clearly, we see that the Washington structure is dissolving, the problem at the FBI. And it is scary to think that even academia, the higher education structure, is corrupt. But we've got to face it. It's like if you have cancer. You've got to admit it, and then you've got to work on it to get the thing fixed.
Well, of course.
That's what we have to do.
Tammy Bruce, great to see you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, dear.